early when we first learn trigonometry, we learn about sine, cosine, and tangent, and SOHCAHTOA. But then when you get a little bit deeper into trigonometry, you learn that there's actually more than just sine, cosine, and tangent. There's actually 6 trigonometry functions. There's secant, cosecant, and cotangent. And it's pretty simple to determine them because they're actually reciprocals of sine, cosine, and tangent. So first, for this triangle here, I have angle A that I'm going to use as my perspective angle to find all 6 trig functions. So first I want to find sine of angle A. And if you remember, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. But why don't I go ahead and label all 3 sides here. 1 is opposite, rad 3 is adjacent, and 2 is the hypotenuse. Just make that D a little bit better. And so sine I know is opposite over hypotenuse, so that's 1 over 2. And why don't I go ahead and find cosine of A. Cosine's adjacent over hypotenuse, so that's rad 3 over 2. And I'll also find tangent of angle A is the ratio opposite over adjacent, so that's 1 over rad 3. Now, we actually can't leave fractions with radicals in the denominator. We've learned that we have to do what's called rationalizing the denominator. So 1 over rad 3, I need to rationalize. And what I could do is I can multiply the top and the bottom by rad 3. And so it becomes rad 3 over 3. So tangent A is rad 3 over 3. Those are the 3 basic trig functions we know. The 3 new trig functions we're learning are reciprocals of those 3. First, we start with cosecant. CSC is pronounced cosecant. And a lot of times we would think cosecant is the reciprocal of cosine, but it's actually the opposite of what we would think. Cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. And reciprocal, if you remember, is just simply flipping your fraction upside down. So if sine A is 1 over 2, cosecant A is 2 over 1. Next is secant. And again, SEC for secant, you would think secant is the reciprocal of sine because they kind of sound alike, but it's not. Secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So if cosine A is rad 3 over 2, secant A is 2 over rad 3. And I know I can't have that radical down there, so I need to rationalize that. Multiply the top and the bottom by rad 3, and we get 2 rad 3 over 3 for secant A. And lastly is cotangent, and that's the one that sounds like it should be the reciprocal of tangent, and it is, unlike the other ones. Cotangent sounds like tangent. It is the reciprocal of tangent, and so I need to flip that upside down. Now, I could go and flip rad 3 over 3, but that's going to give me a radical in the denominator. But if I remember, I originally had 1 over rad 3, which I rationalized, but I can go back to that and just flip that because then it'll be rad 3 over 1. Now, I could have done rad 3 over 3 and rationalized that and simplified that, but rad 3 over 1 is the solution. So this is how you find your 6 trig functions.